Hi everyone, thank you for joining this webinar from Cardiolog Analytics with Rauna. Soon we will start. We're just gonna give a few minutes for our attendees to join, and David, our Spanish friend from Rauna, will start this webinar. Great. Thank you, everyone. I see that a few last mates are joining us. I will let David initiate this webinar for today.
Ok. Muy buenas tardes a todos y bienvenidos a este webinar realizado entre InLock y Raona, como comentaba Arthur. En primer lugar, gracias por vuestro tiempo y por vuestra asistencia. Mi nombre es David Bernal, soy Account Manager en Raona y especialista en Digital Workplace. Sobre Digital Workplace hay muchas definiciones. Una de las más simples podría ser que es una colección de herramientas digitales proporcionadas por la empresa para que nuestros empleados realicen su trabajo de una forma productiva. Para saber si estas iniciativas que lanzamos dentro de nuestro Digital Workplace están siendo utilizadas por los empleados, necesitamos una herramienta que nos dé esta visión. Saber dónde estamos cuando arrancamos, saber hacia dónde estamos yendo. Debemos saber las estadísticas de nuestra plataforma antes, durante y después del lanzamiento de cualquier iniciativa, porque debemos ser capaces de marcar unos objetivos iniciales e ir comprobando si los estamos cumpliendo. Y si no es así, ser capaces de hacer un plan de corrección, de enderezar la marcha. Si nuestra arquitectura lógicamente está basada en SharePoint, ya sea on-premise o en Office 365, Cardiolog Analytics es una de las herramientas más valoradas del mercado en ámbitos empresariales y la que nos da una visión completa de todo lo que está sucediendo. No solamente aquellos indicadores básicos, sino los indicadores que realmente nos van a aportar valor. Ahora, sin más, os dejo en manos de Arthur, ¿vale? Arthur Gatti, que es Business Development Manager en InLock, os explicará cómo maximizar la productividad sobre SharePoint y Office 365 con Cardiolog Analytics. Si tenéis alguna duda, la comentamos al final y escribís en la pantallita del chat y os iremos respondiendo. Muchas gracias, Arthur. Adelante, todo tuyo.
Thank you, David, or gracias, David. I'm sorry if that will be the only words in the Spanish that you will hear from me today. Thanks indeed for this introduction. Cardiolog Analytics is very proud to host this webinar with David from Raona, with whom we have been collaborating, and hopefully we will continue for many years. And what David initiated to explain as an introduction is indeed what is in the center of our activities here at Cardiolog Analytics, and this is what I will present to you today, how we can push on the productivity on your portals. For that, I will just start with a few slides. There's a quick introduction for those of you who are not really yet familiar with Cardiolog. hopefully it won't last long, but quickly we will move on to a quick presentation of Cardiolog analytics. So I will show you some of our few dashboards that we achieve with Cardiolog Analytics SaaS. And I will finish by a quick introduction of the two last product we developed here at Intlock, Cardiolog, Engage, which is dedicated to receive feedback to the end users, and the last in the family, Gamify, gamification solution for portals. As David mentioned, we will leave sometimes toward the end of this presentation for questions and answers. So feel free to use the question part on the GoToMeeting panel where you can write down your questions, and we will be happy to look at them towards the end. My screen is it should appear is shared with you. Sorry, so I'm gonna start with a few information about Cardiolog. First of all, for us who don't know us, we've been around for 12 years now, and since the very beginning of this journey, we've been dedicated to SharePoint analytics. So we started with legacy SharePoint versions like 2007, 2010. Nowadays we work with any SharePoint version, either on-premises with 2013, 2016, and of course SharePoint Online and Office 365. Today I'm going to present you our SaaS offering, but for those of you who are more interested in to keep their data on site, we have also, of course, an on-premises version. Our experiences led us also, considering our partnership with Microsoft, to do analytics on Yammer as well as an additional solution for portals, so we can track those different environments all together. We work with many verticals around the world, so there is no limitation of what can be achieved on analytics for SharePoint. Our objectives, and this is especially where we work with Raona, is to help organizations to understand what's going on the portal, either on a new portal or on a portal that has been around for many years, when people discover that they don't know what's going on, and if, for example, the HR or the internal communication messages are being analyzed by the end users, or if the end users are finding the information they are looking for and basically using SharePoint as they should. This is why we are here to improve the portal adoption and the engagement of the users to make sure that we can maximize and drive the productivity on those portals. And at the end of the day, this is also very important to improve the return on investment on the portals. Cardiolog Analytics works obviously on the monitoring pillar, which is like the base of our solution, which is the ability for you guys to create, based on data, meaningful reports, usage report to understand what's going on the portal. But our experience that is getting older every day now told us from at the very early stages that monitoring is not always enough. At some point, and because the end users are your users, as they stand for, you also need to engage with them. You need to understand from them what are their challenges on the portal and how you can improve their journey on the portal. So that's why this engagement tool that I will briefly discuss is also a very important part of analytics on SharePoint, and with this goal still to enhance the portal through analytics. Cardiolog Analytics, being designed for SharePoint, has many advantages. First of all, we work with a JavaScript tracking mechanism that is our proprietary technology, so we don't rely on SharePoint analytics. We can track several SharePoint environments, so while everyone is starting to go for the cloud, We have some hybrid architecture more often nowadays, and some legacy on-premises infrastructure. So from one environment you can track together your SharePoint Online together with your SharePoint 2016, for example, or 2013. You can integrate with the full set of content and user metadata, integrating as well with your SharePoint groups and user profiles, so to make sure that you can also focus on the specific segments of your organization. For the ones that are very strict on privacy laws, usually I say that closing my eyes to our German customers, because those are the guys that have the hardest privacy laws. We can also hide all the names of the end users. So if you need to, if you have very strict governance around privacy, it's something that you shouldn't be concerned with. Cardiolog Analytics, everything can be anonymized, and with the new legislation at the European Union that is coming on in early 2018, it should be it could be also very interesting to consider the ability to anonymize those results. Our SaaS offering offers you also the ability to have a very quick setup. Everything is done on our site, and as we are partnered with Microsoft, as I mentioned earlier, we decided to use Power BI from Microsoft for the user interface. The user experience being very important, we are using this very flexible application for our monitoring part. And everything is can be shared using Power BI. We also decided to make it very short in terms of adoption of the solution itself, and to have a very short learning curve to prepare pre-can reports for our customers. Of course, you still have the ability to create your own reports based on your specific KPIs, but still you have this set of 15 to 20 reports that you can use that will be populated with data automatically. So minimum efforts, and I'm especially thinking here about our friends that are not technical, for example, HR or internal communication, that can't spend too much time in thinking about the reports they would like to build, and that's why we decided to deliver those reports to them. I'm going to move on right now to our schematic overview just before jumping into our demonstration. As you can see, whether it appears to be Office 365, SharePoint Online, 2013, 2016, or even Yammer, everything is captured for the SharePoint environment through a JavaScript tracking mechanism. Regarding Yammer, everything is done through the API. This JavaScript tracking mechanism, alongside with the user and content metadata, is pulled and processed in Microsoft Azure secure environment. So everything is hosted on Microsoft Azure. For our European consumers, it's stored in the European Union territory. And then the data is visualized and pushed in Power BI for the best visualization available. Refreshing my screen just for a second, I'm going to move on directly to our user interface using Power BI. So I'm going to show you a few examples of dashboard that can be that are delivered with our solution. But let me first dive into this dashboard by starting a quick explanation, a quick overview of how those dashboards are articulated. As you can see, one of the great benefits of Cardiolog Analytics is also to be able to retrieve the SharePoint tree structure. Our solution is designed from the very beginning for SharePoint, so we are able to retrieve the SharePoint tree structure, so you keep an environment that you're familiar with, and you can drill down into your portal by deploying this SharePoint tree structure. And if you can, of course, look at the overall portal results in terms of analytics, you have also the ability to drill down into this tree structure and to look at a single level, page or document level. You can also analyze different lists together or different documents or different pages, and it could be also from different SharePoint environments. So if you have a site into SharePoint Online that you would like to analyze together with a specific SharePoint that is on your SharePoint 2013, Cardiolog enables you to do it. That's it for the portal tree structure. We can see on the top next to the title of the dashboard usage overview some prepared filters based on content. So you have the ability to filter directly your dashboard based on different type of content. So if you want to analyze blog, for example, or documents, and obviously the date range, so you can select a specific date range that is of interest for you. What is very interesting to look at right now, maybe some of you have already used some out-of-the-box analytics that you can have on Office 365 or SharePoint. Here you don't have real limitation in terms of date that you can analyze. You're not limited by a native 90 days historical data. Here with our solution, once it's implemented, you can in a year look at the results for all year long, which gives you even more depth in your analysis. Starting from this first and general dashboard, we can see here some key metrics that are very common to most of the organizations, such as the number of page views or number of users that are active and time spent on page. Those reports are very flexible in a way that you can select and interact with those reports very easily. Here, for example, we can see that we have two SharePoint environments together, and just below the list of the most popular content. So if I want to look only at the content sitting on my SharePoint Online, you can interact with the report, and by clicking on it, you will only see the results for your SharePoint Online. By default, we will present you the most popular page views for the SharePoint Online that we just select over the selected date range. But in case you are interested in knowing the unused content, which is very interesting to look at, and I will further discuss about it later on, you can also turn the sort order, and you have other options to look at. So for such as the number classification by number of users, and you can also retrieve the name of the users if especially you want to take action about inactive content and, for example, remove it or decommission it. Next general topic that we will go over today will be the adoption itself. As you can see in the middle of my dashboard, we have this widget called adoption that represents all the active users on your portal. So active users will be individuals that have at least one visit on the portal over the date range that we selected on the top right corner of the dashboard. Just below, to start with, we can see the departments where are most of our active users. So obviously it can give you a first actions to take over by selecting a few departments that have a lower adoption rate, and maybe dedicate some training efforts on your budget to this specific department, and do not spend it through departments where the adoption level is bringing satisfaction already. The next topic that we will go over today will be the search. Search optimization is one of the key performance indicator that is counting a lot nowadays for many of our customer and partner organizations. So understanding how searches are performed and if they are successful or not, being defined by if they are followed by the click on a specific results, is also a very important point in the adoption and the engagement of the users. I'm sure you guys have already experienced a few times the frustration of not finding a specific content or specific page on a portal. let's imagine that when you couldn't find it, this activity was tracked, and then someone asked you what you were looking for to make sure that you will find it for your following visit. It could be very useful, and the user friction will be reduced drastically. So here we can see, for example, some top of the keywords that have been searched for over the selected date range, but we will further dive into that in a couple of minutes. Let's start right away with discovering some of the key reports. Obviously, don't be scared, I will not go over all our pre-canned reports, but some of the few. Inactive users as compared to active users, for example, is always very interesting. Everything here, of course, can also be filtered based on the Power BI filters panel that is on the top right corner of my screen. So you can add your own filters based on your locations, on your office locations, and so on. Here, as a very generic example, we can see the repartition of our users among the different groups, and what is the ratio between active users and inactive users. Of course, we can further dive into that, but let's drill down by, for example, looking at the sales department. So here the number of inactive users is now 21. This classification or ranking gives you the top users among this sales department, but if you drill down the list, you will start to see which users didn't adopt the SharePoint platform. So here, for example, you can use this information to turn the top users into evangelists, so to help their co-workers and their teammates, or decide directly to drive them into a training session if it's your internal way to proceed. The ratio is interesting here also to detect some averages and see exactly where the departments, which departments need to be, you need to put more training. You have other key metrics that can be very interesting, such as the average depth of visit to understand if it's only a matter of going to the home page and stopping the visit, or going further and understand, starting from there, where you can improve the adoption and the productivity on the portal. We have all the same goals, that our users will use all the benefits of the SharePoint, and which is starting by spending a lot of time on it to know their environment and to be able to navigate through the different content that is important. We have many metrics, again, here that is available. I wanted to spend also some time into search optimization as a deeper, as a wider, report for the search optimization. On this dashboard here, it's interesting to have a look at how people and the habits on searches. One of these habits could be to check the first and the top keywords people have been looking for, and try to understand if they found the information they were looking for. So here we have as a first metric the number of searches, the number of users that perform the different searches. And if we click, for example, on business data, as it's one of our topics today, by clicking on it, we will discover that this search was performed by 640 users and search at least twice approximately as an average. We know that there are results. When people type business data, there is an average of 30 results, but we can see that there were only 47%, almost 48% of those of searches that were followed by the click on a specific result. So this is a first red light or red flag, since it means that more than the majority couldn't find the information and didn't even click one of the 30 average results. So here, obviously, it brings you to, it's a call for action. So there are many things here that you can do. One of those is if you know what business data is can be in your portal, you can make the results appear quicker on the different pages. It could be a link if it's a search that is performed many times, or by engaging the users, and I will further explain that a bit later, on what they were looking for to make sure, again, that this result will be available for them and they will find what they are looking for. Again, here in the idea of limiting the friction between the portal and the users, and to make sure that this frustration of not finding the information will not lead by frustration and not using the portal, considering that they can't get out of it what they need to work. Analytics for SharePoint are not only about users. Users is of course a key point in our analytics, but portal itself, content is also very important. This is also why we develop many metrics and dashboards around the portal itself and the content. For one of these examples could be the slow pages report in the usability category. Here the real idea is to understand where the portal is less efficient, where the pages take a lot of time to load, and where it's not a proper way to load. Sometimes, as you know, when it takes time, maybe something is broke. So it's also a good call for action. So you can identify those pages here and maintain a healthy portal. The same way, you will be able to track down the unused content. Here, it's also something that is out of interest for many organizations, knowing which content hasn't been visited for a given amount of time. Could be 3 months, 6 months, 1 year. Here the idea is really to maintain this portal in the state-of-the-art portal, which is very only relevant content that is useful to the end users, so they don't spend time looking to content that is not relevant anymore, and to make sure that the content that should be visited by the end users is being consumed. Otherwise, it's also another call for action for you guys to promote specific content, such as a document, a site, a list, and so on, where you need to user to look at to be productive and to maintain the portal so they can work with it properly. As I mentioned earlier, we have also a set of reports dedicated to Yammer. Yammer analytics combined with social analytics from SharePoint, such as the number of likes, the number of followers, is also very interesting today in order to maintain this adoption and engagement of the end users, but also to promote gamifications for the end users to push and create a competition between users, so they can also, between departments and among teams, compete in a friendly way, and to turn this portal into a live portal. Engagement and gamifications are for the past couple of years, one of the topics our team here in the R&D and the product have been working a lot. Nowadays, we launch for less than a year now Cardiolog Engage, which is a smart way to communicate between users. It works like maybe marketing campaigns that you are familiar with. The idea is really to communicate with user based on the data that is captured by Cardiolog Analytics. So it's always also, an analytics a solution in a way that everything is captured and can be segmented based on the analytics. using Engage, you can ask users the right question, and right after, for example, they perform a specific action. So when they search for a specific a keyword and that is not followed by result, you can immediately prompt a message within SharePoint asking them what they were looking for, if they can define the keywords they have been using, so you can understand what they have been looking for, and you can help them. You can also promote content, offer people that haven't been visiting a specific site to visit it after a couple of months, for example, or inform them that due to the inactive site, it will be removed shortly, and it's their last chance to keep it live, for example, and so on. There are many actions that you can perform through Engage based on the analytics and to automatically segment the users by departments or by actions. Our gamification tool is, as I just told you, one of the last of our family here at Cardiolog Analytics. I'm going to just refresh my screen to present to you briefly our Gamify solution. Gamify was born again with the idea of helping users to be more productive on our portal. Enterprise gamification can drive SharePoint adoption to realize many benefits of SharePoint, going beyond a brief adoption project. It drives employees to boost their involvement in SharePoint through collaboration, for example, communication and management capabilities. So Gamify, our new solution, and we will have, and I encourage you to register a webinar next week on this very same topic, is a very nice solution in order for you to drive the social engagement and to grow the compliance on your portal, but also to have a better onboarding and training on your organization. I think we are getting towards the end of our discussion for today. After this presentation of Cardiolog Analytics, what I would like to do is, of course, to spend a few minutes for questions. So I saw that a few questions were asked on the panel questions. So if you need, of course, first we're going to go over these few questions. If you have any additional questions, you will receive anyway the recording of this webinar. You can also chat with us, either David or myself, Arthur. We'll be happy to answer those questions. I see that we have a few questions coming in, so we won't spend too much time, but we will have time to answer to a few questions. One of the first question is coming from Ricardo, that is asking about the Power BI licenses. So it's a good question, Ricardo. Thank you. When you are using Cardiolog Analytics, there are two different kind of license of Power BI that you can use. Either the Pro license to create reports and share reports, and you can use, of course, a free version, a free license of Power BI just to consume the report. So everyone that just will require to receive the reports, to just have a look at them, will not need to be a license with Power BI. I hope this is answering your question. And the last one regarding the on-prem version and this as compared to the SaaS solution. So Alfonso is asking me if there are differences in the features between the SaaS offering and the on-prem version of Cardiolog. Cardiolog offers and supports the same features for both versions. The main difference is obviously, besides the fact that it will be hosted on the cloud for the SaaS version, is that the user interface is different. The on-premises version uses our own user interface that is not Power BI, because otherwise it will require from an on-prem version to push the data towards the cloud, which will be as the SaaS version. Great. A last good, interesting question about Gamify and Engage. This question is regarding if it's included in Cardiolog Analytics natively. So the answer to that is no. It can be part of a solution, all the three together, or only Cardiolog Analytics with Gamify, or Cardiolog Analytics plus Engage. But two solutions, new solutions, Gamify and Cardiolog Engage can also be standalone solutions. So if you don't have, if you prefer not to invest too much time into analytics and you just want the engagement tool in order to communicate with the end users, it's possible, and the same way for Gamify. Well, I think that will be it for our question, and that will conclude our webinar today. And thank you everyone for joining. Thank you, David, for hosting this webinar with me. Hopefully we will, my pleasure, we'll have the chance to conduct many more events like that in the future. Everyone in attending or that register will receive a link for the recording of this webinar, and we will also send it to you. Thanks everyone, have a good day, and we will talk soon. Feel free to contact us, David and I. If you have any additional questions, we'll be pleased to answer you. And if you want to have a personal presentation of our solution, we'll be also happy to make this happen. Thank you, gracias, and hasta luego.